We're good? Good evening, everyone. I'd like to welcome you to the Town of Pownell Select Board Meeting, August 28, 2025 at 6 p.m. I'd like to call the meeting to order. Board member roll call.
Carl Strohmeyer.
Jeannie Alexander.
Mike Gardner. We all rise for the Pledge of Allegiance, please.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Approval of the agenda. We have a couple things to add tonight. We need to add a railing quote for the stairs coming from our upper parking lot. They're putting down to the town hall. We need to add a letter of interest for funding for the emergent contaminants at the transfer station. And I'd like to add a discussion about reports from our commissions and committees, please.
I'll make a motion that we accept the agenda as amended.
I'll second that.
Okay, and I'll add those railing quote 8A, but under the skateboard ramp. The reports can go. I guess they can go as 8B. And the letter of interest, we can probably put that down at 12A. That discussion, is that all right?
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Perfect. Okay. Do I have any public comment? And public comment is going to be limited to 3 minutes as usual. Any public comment?
Kind of part butter to 127 Pro Hill Road where the proposed cell tower is gonna be. Just have a couple papers to get to tear on this, so. Couple extra, but just 400. So as you know, the new documents came out on August 22nd, were uploaded to the PEPC. So tonight, I'm asking the board to respond to the most recent documents filed by the petitioner on August 22nd. The town's earlier comments do not address these new changes, which raise many new questions. Would you please submit an updated letter that maintains the town's recommendation to deny the site if it agrees? That step allows my family to continue raising necessary questions while the town has standing on critical issues, including coverage, safety. I only have standing on aesthetics. As you know, the CPG, which is the Certificate of Public Good, is based on whether there is a substantial public benefit that outweighs the undue adverse effects to my family and our future here on Crow Hill and Pelham. Silence from the town at this stage does not count as denial. In fact, it risks being interpreted by the developer as an approval, which it sounds like it's in that direction based on the new documents. Here are a few specific questions that remain unanswered. Why was the new RF propagation map modeled with an antenna center line at 93 feet when the actual design places it at 89 feet, which gives them a better reading, even though it's a shorter distance. It's that 4 feet makes a big difference when you're behind the mountain. How was the visual map prepared, given that the developer states there is no view from my property, something that is plainly untrue, as those board members who came to my house know exactly where to be pointed and where to be see. I question the accuracy of the maps. How can the abutters, the Wilkersons, who were not notified of this project at all for over 8 months, be expected to weigh in now about anything even without a balloon test? They missed the first two, and after so many changes, moving the tower, changing the height, I'm not sure how we're all supposed to know.
Oh, sorry.
That's okay.
My father's calling.
I'm not sure how we're supposed to evaluate the new location without a new balloon test. Again, I asked the town to request an updated one so that we understand what we're dealing with. And I was wondering if the town has been briefed on the FirstNet program, because with some research, I've become aware that there's subscription fees involved in that. I mean, the town has to pay that to even subscribe to FirstNet, so I recommend that the board looks into that. Lastly, the developer himself stated the shortcomings of a shorter tower in the June 26th town meeting. He said the Telecommunications Act allows companies to put it at a height where it actually provides service. So when you're reducing the height so much that it's only 20 feet above the tree canopy, it doesn't provide the service and it doesn't cover the things in the town the provider is really trying to provide for the state. That was the developer himself. The original project was a 190-foot tower. The new design is nearly half that height. With such a drastic change, it's reasonable to expect the developer to re-examine other more suitable locations that offer more substantial coverage. If you haven't looked at the documents yet, when you compare the original RF propagation map to the new one, you can see a substantial change in coverage.
Tanya, you're at just about three minutes.
Okay, that's fine. The rest of it's written on here.
Okay.
Overall, I just respectfully ask you to continue denying this site so that a better solution can be negotiated. Right now, this proposal seems to be about what's easiest for the developer and not what's best for the town. So I appreciate your time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Do I have any other public comment?
Yes, my name's Kenneth Brock. I live at 72 Murphy Lane. My concerns is with the cleanup of the Bates property behind me. Lucas Baker's caught 63 rats. I've caught one rat because I have rodent detectors around my house. It's turning into a health hazard with that place stuck there. From what I understand, he was given a 30-day cleanup. Now he's into an extension. He is not cleaning nothing out of there. Nothing has been coming out of there. And either the town does something, or we're gonna reach out to the EPA. We're gonna really bring in some heavy hitters. And it's not gonna be pretty, because that place has been for 40 years. We know there's oil and gasoline in that ground back there. You know, somebody's gotta do something, and the drug addicts are running in and out of there. And I almost lost my cookies the other day. You know, and I'm not gonna lose my freedom because of these people. So something needs to be done with that property. Flat out. And I'm not the only one. Like 40 years he's been doing that. Nobody's done nothing. It's horrible. And, you know, in the future, if I want to sell my property, nobody's going to buy my property without back there like that. No way in hell. Something has to be done. We can't just sit back and just turn a blind eye to it like that. It's been for 40 years. You know, I've lived here off and on for the last 60 years myself. And it's horrible. And it's got to come to an end. Like I said, the only reason I don't have rats is because I have rodent detectors around the house, solar powered rodent detectors. But Lucas has killed 63 rats, and they're coming from back there. And you know, last year, as you know, he burned his own trailer down because I put dips in the road. And he was complaining about that. You know, I'm not blocking the right away, but I'm making sure they have to slow down. They're driving 30 and 40 miles an hour down the road. I have a dog this big. I've got kids. I'm not going to put up with it. I'm done. So. That's all I have to say.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Do I have any more public comment?
I do have a quick question. I'm sorry, where did you say, which road are you on again? Where do you live?
72 Murphy Lane. I live right behind Lucas.
Okay, all right,
And then they live with us.
all right.
Off of Game Road.
Oh, okay, all right.
I mean, it's horrible. It really is. You know, and when I first came back, I told him, I would help you clean that up back there, but I'm to the point now, I'm not helping with nothing. You know, it's all you can do is offer help. And when it gets to this, it's too far.
Okay.
All right. Thank you.
I appreciate
you.
your time. Thank you.
Anything else, Anna? Anybody online? No one? No hands up? No other public comment, all approval of minutes. Minutes of August 14th, 2025. No, I haven't-
Go ahead. No.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes of August 14th, 2025, the select board meeting.
I'll second that.
Any discussion, changes? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Minutes of the Board of Health on August 14th.
I'll make a motion that we accept those.
Do I have a second?
I will second that motion.
Any questions, comments? All in favor?
Aye.
Warrants, accounts payable, August 22nd, $23,135.14.
I'll make a motion to accept that. warrant.
Do I have a second?
I'll second that.
Any questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Accounts payable, August 29th, $81,785.64.
I'll make a motion that we accept them.
I second that.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Payroll, August 22nd, $11,658.68.
I'll make a motion that we accept that payroll for August 22nd, 2005.
I will second that.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
August 29th payroll, $11,821.69.
Make a motion that we accept the payroll of 11,000. Yeah, we accept the payroll as Mike said.
I'll second that
Granted.
motion.
$11,821.69.
Alrighty.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Skate park ramp donation from Williamstown, discussion and possible action. Did everyone
Yes.
read that?
So just so the public is aware, we were offered the skate park ramps from Williamstown, Massachusetts. They're getting ready to upgrade like Williamstown did to concrete. And I've been working with Parks and Rec as well as Cliff Dayton to sort of see what's appropriate for our size park and we're kind of ready to work out the logistics of moving them as long as the board is giving us their blessing to accept the donation.
Quick question. So that's at no cost to the town.
I believe so, yes, because we have volunteers to move them. So
Great.
that would be the only cost.
And it sounds like some of those ramps are in better shape than some of the ones we have right now.
Yes.
So that would be an upgrade and
Yeah.
safer and it sounds
Are they
great.
wooden ramps or metal?
They're metal.
That's a big difference.
Yeah. Oh, I think that's great. I think we
I
should
think it's
proceed with
great,
that.
yeah.
I think it's just a
And-
benefit.
We'll defer to Cliff because he's sort of our expert as far as skate parks go, and he can sort of say which ones should stay and which ones should go. once
Okay.
they
Great.
Get here.
I was just gonna ask that. Cliff's involved. I saw that and which is great because he was the initial
Yeah, he's been.
right along with this
Right
skate
along.
park. So I'm happy to see him involved in that whole operation. That's kind of his wheelhouse. What's the board's pleasure?
To move, I would make. a
Move
motion.
forward.
Yeah, we move forward with that.
I don't know.
Need a motion or
I don't know if
no?
we Need a motion for
No.
that.
No.
Can we just get an update on that too? If it turns out for some reason it's not feasible or he's not, yeah, but it sounds great.
We need a quote for a railing on the new
Yep.
stairs.
So we got a quote from JB Steel. He's the same company that did the railings out back and out front here. For the railings on the stairs that go up the embankment. It would be both sides of the stairs. We've used him many times and I basically am just coming to ask the board that we use him again because when I requested ARPA money to put towards that, I had already gotten a quote from him and planned on using him. So I'm hoping that you'll give me the blessing to do that. It's for $4,920 to get that done.
And that doesn't require a public bidding process, right? Because the amount.
There's in our purchasing policy, there's a sole proprietor or a sole. If you can only find like one main person to do it, or the board just has the discretion to allow me to, I can collect quotes. However, because we've used him and he,
Yeah.
They're gonna match what we have here. He did these rings here. He did the railings down the.
and it's the same price per linear foot.
And as I recall, the last time we did get a quote, the one came out substantially more expensive.
Yeah, and
Ours.
yeah,
Fine with that.
I'll make the motion that we move ahead with we got the quote, so they just move forward with the rails.
complete the work.
I second that motion.
Any more discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
And that is true with the sole proprietorship. We don't have to, we can, like with a bid for salt or gravel crushing or whatever, if we've used a contractor, an outside contractor or vendor, we don't need to get a quote. We can just.
The policy basically makes sure it says, make sure you get the blessing from the board. Right. At the end of the day, no matter what.
Yeah, yes.
The next thing is reports. I'd like to receive a report from, I know this, the rec park gives us one periodically. Concom, I believe, gives us a report periodically about what's going on, or at least through emails. But I'd like to see a report from our commissions and committees. I'd like to see it once a month of what they're working on and what direction they're heading and what they're,
Do you wish it written or do you want?
I'd like to see it written or at least an email.
And I do, just so everyone is aware, I do at the beginning of every month send out an email asking for updates from boards, commissions and department heads. I rarely get them from highway, often wastewater, our department heads are pretty good about it, but the boards are kind of here and there.
So I'd like to request that at
Do
the
you want to make
next,
that as a motion, Mike?
yeah,
Then it's official.
we can make the
That
motion.
we're requiring that the boards give us a monthly update on what they're working on.
So that looks like the next a month from now, give them a month to get it done, right? A month from now would be the September 25th board meeting.
I think also it could be sufficient to just send an email. Like, I don't want people to make up things. Oh, nobody's gonna do that. You know what I'm saying? Like, you don't have to come up with a 10-page report. Like, if you really, here's what you're working on, there's nothing new to report.
Even just
Great.
one
Right.
sentence.
Let us
Well,
know.
yeah.
Yeah, I like
Yeah.
that. That's helpful.
But we should be, and I agree with Mike, we should be turning around and getting these reports so that we know what they're working on. Because right now I'm not really familiar what ComCon's work. I don't know what planning's working on. So I don't, if we had like a monthly where they sent us and says, here, we're working on this, this and this. And this is what we have worked on and that type of stuff.
And that's a good opportunity if direction is, if you think
Yes.
there's other things that they should
Right,
Sure.
also be working.
right. If there's something we think they should be working on, it gives us a chance to fairly direct them. Have a motion, did I have a second?
Second question.
All those in favor? Return check policy discussion and possible action.
Ellen found a typo that I corrected. Other than that, was there any comments?
Nope.
This is just a policy that's kind of duplicative of other towns.
It just seems very straightforward. It's an
Yeah.
easy policy. It's no big, no, there's nothing controversial in it.
I'll entertain a motion to approve it.
I'll make that motion to approve the check return policy.
I will second that motion.
Any more discussion? All those in favor? Cost system contract for land records management service renewal discussion and possible action.
I do have questions about this, actually. I went through every page. The contract, that's fine. That's not so much. But I do know that Julie has some concerns about it. It sounds like she's not entirely happy with it. Do you know what those concerns are? I had texted her and I don't think that she necessarily has had a hand.
I think, sometimes if there's trouble finding documents or they weren't put in not the right way, but the way Julie would have put them in, so then she can't find them in the system. Sometimes there's a lot of gaps sometimes. And I think that's one of her main concerns is that came here and scanned a lot of our documents, but she feels like some of them are still missing.
So does she feel like they're non-responsive if she reaches out to them for customer support?
I don't know. I think you should ask Julie.
I will.
Yeah,
I wish.
I don't want to speak to,
Okay,
not really sure, but I do know she has concerns because sometimes there's a lot of technical issues that arise and it can be frustrating, but I'm not sure exactly what her concern is. Then I'm
When is this? I don't remember the date when this contract is up.
not until
It's a little while, right?
November. Yeah.
I think we should bring Julie in and have her speak to this because I think she's the one that works with it on a daily basis, not us, not Hannah, not Tara.
I agree. I think,
Before we do anything, I'd like to hear Julie's
Yep.
take on what's going on with it.
Okay,
I have heard plenty of complaints myself from Julie. I
right.
can't pinpoint.
But I don't want to, yeah, I don't,
Right, I don't want, I'm not gonna pinpoint, that's her.
maybe even discuss it in executive.
Yeah, because it is contractual.
Concerns, yeah.
Mhm, it is contractual, so I think that's definitely an executive. Will come out and either yes or no, right?
Right.
It is a contractual thing, so. Let me just check my schedule. Our next meeting is the 11th.
Yes.
I won't be here the 11th. Not that I have to be, I'm just giving everybody a heads up that I will not, I'll be in Florida on the 11th.
We have the HB presentation that day. Maybe I'll ask her to come
The
the end of
25th.
September.
25th?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I will be in Chicago for work on the 11th, actually.
I'm in a wedding and my stepdaughter's getting married in Florida and I'm walking down the aisle on the 12th, so I'm gonna be in
Mhm.
Florida.
Nice Florida.
Yeah, during hurricane season, yay me. Lucky guy. I'll probably float away. So let's ask Julie to come the 25th on that.
Okay.
That sounds great.
Any more discussion on that? We're good, right? Old Town Hall Committee, continued discussion, possible action.
Okay, so I brought this back because I wasn't here the last time and because I wanted to kind of clarify some things and discuss another option that I sort of learned about today. I attended a symposium, a municipal owned building symposium today with the Southern Vermont Economy Project. And it was great because there was a lot of regional partners there and things like that. And I really kept hearing about feasibility studies. And when I talked about Pownell maybe starting a committee, they said, you know, what is your charge? And then when I started saying like, oh, we're gonna come up with options, it's who's the expert that's really going to determine what the feasibility is. So then I started thinking maybe it would be a better option to find a contractor or an architect, an engineer that provides the service of a feasibility study that can look at what it's going to take to fix the building or what it will take to demolish the building and sort of look at all the options and what it takes. And then when the committee starts working, they have a clear picture of what they're working towards. It also removes the emotion from it. If it's a third party person, they don't have all the emotion that many of us have when it comes to that building. So I'm not saying I don't want to do the committee. I'm just thinking that maybe we slow down and appoint people at a later time once I can see, is a feasibility study an option for us? Can I find funding for it so that we don't have to ask taxpayers for that money? I can work with a few of the other regional partners I met today. There's many nonprofits that do community outreach, town visits, and they can help us do the public outreach and really build a good committee and do this process the right way with experts. Thoughts?
I will say, I do personally like the idea of a feasibility study, particularly if we can get that funded other than from taxpayers, so that we don't start a committee, which of course, like we talked, this would be open and folks who are interested would be able to like tweet periods and the interest and then we could do that. But like before we get there, it probably would be very helpful to have an idea, what are the actual costs? Because I feel like any suggestion that is made, whether it's turn it to something else, tear it down, or fix it up and sell it, we're always going to get the question, and how much is that going to cost? So I think that is probably a very good idea before we create a committee. If there's a way to do it that is not immediate, because that's not realistic, but a bit sooner rather than later.
Yes, I still really would want the focus to be community focused.
Yeah.
So I don't want to give the impression that we're moving away from that. I just want to make sure that we're prepared and not meeting and having lots of people come and just not really accomplishing anything.
Right.
Because we can all say what we want to do, but do we know what is feasible? What it's going to take to get there?
I think
And
that's
those things.
reasonable.
Well, I think I think a feasibility study probably should have been done a while ago, right? And so we have, and I think a key piece of the feasibility study is to try to find the funding or find the funding for it so that we aren't chasing good money after bad. If we can, right? And, or at least we have to know how much.
Guiding document, yeah.
At least we have to know how much how much we're talking about, right?
Yeah.
If we're talking $1,000 to do a feasibility study, well, you know, but if we're talking $25,000 to do a feasibility study, there's a wide range, right?
Yes.
Right?
Yeah,
So,
and I would come back with how much the feasibility studies.
Exactly.
What my plan to pay for it is. I'm
exactly,
not asking for your blessing with anything like that.
right,
Yeah, I'm just,
right.
Is it reasonable to come back, like say our first meeting in October with an idea and estimate of how much such a study would cost and like what the options might be to get it funded?
and yes, and which agencies.
Yeah.
Could help us and that, yeah. I have a much better plan.
Right, and I think that's a starting point. I think as far as this committee that we are talking about forming, I think it would also give them a much better idea of what an outside person, like you said, that doesn't have
Option.
an emotional attachment, right?
Yeah.
And I think the way we have talked about setting up the committee is the way it needs to be set up, right? I think we have a select board member. Okay, and I'm gonna come right out right now and be 100% honest. I think Jeannie is the select board member that needs to sit on that committee because she doesn't have an emotional attachment to the, you know, one way or the other, or at least she hasn't expressed it, right? Where
No, I do not. Actually, I don't have.
the rest of us have expressed an emotional attachment one way or the other, the board members. Not that I couldn't, you know, go one way or the other, right? Whatever's the best. Because that's what I do. It's best for the town. And I think Terry, you being on that committee is a good idea. And I think then we do our diversity study or our feasibility study, not diversity, sorry. I was thinking ahead of myself. And then I think we open up that once we form a committee, I think these are my ideas of how to form this committee. Okay, we send out a request for applicants. The board designs specific questions for applicants. Every applicant gets asked the same exact list of questions. Right? Because that's just the fairest way to do it. Because if you're going to come up with, correct me if I'm wrong, if you're going to come up with whatever the best solution is for that building, the diversity has to be on that committee. If you have 15 people and 11 of them want to keep it and 4 don't, you're not coming up with the best solution. Right? You're just not gonna
There's
come up.
also often a disconnect between the select board makes the decisions, but we work here every day. So it is really essential to have myself or Hannah or someone on that committee.
I agree. I agree.
Because we know the ins and outs of this building and we know what happens every day and just the logistics of things.
No, I agree with that, you know, and I think
Perspective.
at that point, then we ask for applicants and we see how many we have, and then we certainly as a board can.
Do we do it similar to the
We come up
way
with.
we done it with, when you first came on ComCon?
Absolutely.
Yeah, everyone.
We give them an application, they fill it out, and then they'll come in for an interview?
Well, I think however we do it, Carl, we can give them the list of questions ahead of time, or we can bring them in and sit them down. I mean, I'm not talking, you know, you're not talking a Bible worth of questions.
understand that, but I'm
You're
just-
talking 5 questions maybe, or whatever, you come up with.
That's
5
fine,
pertinent
right,
questions.
right, but I didn't know if you wanted that part of the, they could, you know,
I think
you put
that,
your application in, here's the questions we want you to answer, and then you bring them in, and now we can talk about
and
it.
that's fair, because give them a chance rather than on the spot answer your questions.
Correct.
Give them a chance to come up with a really good answer or an answer that they have time to think about.
Correct.
Rather than sit here in 15 minutes. But I also believe that I want that I want that personal interview, not just hand me your answer to your questions, because I think eye contact and emotion and things really sometimes you can hide a lot on a piece of paper
No, I know.
that you can't hide when you're sitting across from people asking you questions. Does that make sense?
Yes,
Ginny's.
does.
Yeah, I know. Does that, I'll get to, I
Yeah.
promise, I promise.
That was for me.
Yeah, I saw it. I promise that I'll get there. Does that,
Yeah.
you got, does that make sense?
Yeah, I think that's a really good idea.
Jenny?
I have a couple of things I just want to say. I'd love to take the word emotion out of this conversation. It's not about emotion. It's
It's
about
not.
finances, and it's about coming up with ideas to do, what to do with this building. I have not spoken with anyone who's emotional about it. So I just would love that word to be taken off the table. And I'm not gonna go any further with that because the only person who's shown emotion has not been the.
Hasn't been you.
So, yeah, and the other thing is, in my recollection, wasn't there a discussion about getting the lawyer to say what was actually legal to do? And I don't think we've heard any response. I don't think we've gotten a response to that, so I don't know if it's been followed through on.
I think that's actually,
So-
we could just say a very valid point. There is a
Yeah, so
lawsuit right now,
we're sa-
and we
right,
need
so-
to wait.
Okay, but I mean, this was promised.
Yeah.
And now this feasibility, that I think the feasibility is a great idea, but I think we also have to get the legal.
Well, I think part of that feasibility study should be that legal. Legal opinion.
The lawsuit, I
Yeah.
think some questions are hard to answer right now because
Great,
of that.
I mean, but that was talked about months ago, so I just think that needs.
So I think, well, then the lawsuit, there's some things. So I think everybody's right here. I think we need to pull back a hair.
Yeah.
I
The only
think,
thing I've seen emotion about is this church, and I could care less about that. But I have not seen any emotion about the town office.
so I think we pull back. I think we get some numbers on a feasibility study. Right? And then we can move forward. And I think all of our ideas, okay, I think the committee, I think going through that, because then we get community input. No one can come back and say, oh, you didn't have community input. Yes, we did. We had 15 people sitting on a board or a committee, right? And it was a very diverse committee. That's where our goal should be, is an extremely diverse committee, okay? And then let them come up, not that their recommendation is gonna be written in stone, but let them come up with an idea and a recommendation, because that's what we're tasking them with.
I would say that a committee needs to come up with a bunch of options. The select board needs to, this committee doesn't make and no.
Well, that's true.
Makes any decisions.
No, that's true.
She's 100% right on that, yes.
100% right.
So we should come to you with recommendations. This should be an advisory committee.
Here's our recommendations, 1, 2, and 3.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and then I think once the select board thinks about it, then it should go to a town vote. And then everybody gets this, and you can give the 1, 2, 3 options that the select board decides from the, whatever, however many options you get from the committee. And then you guys put it on the ballot and you put this. I mean, it might even just be taxpayers pay to do something with it, and if they taxpayers don't, you sell it. It might be that those two.
It could be that simple. That's right.
But you can't put that kind of responsibility on the committee to make a decision. Like, that's not.
And
No,
that's,
because in the end, it's our
Oh, yeah, no, I don't
it's our
It
decision.
is
So
your decision. It's
Yeah.
not the committee's decision. So I just want
Yeah.
to make sure that everyone's on the same.
I don't think anybody envisioned the committee making the decision.
No,
That seems
I
very
I just
separate.
wanted to say that out loud, so
Yeah.
that everyone's on the same.
I could have been misleading.
You guys are the elected ones.
Yep.
Good.
So.
Good. I think we're good with that. Perfect. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you, Jen.
Thank you. I
Thank you,
think we
Jenny.
have a good plan going forward.
Have a good evening.
You too. Good night. I'm going to eat a feast.
Town-owned cemetery bylaw discussion and possible action. So there was some confusion last time.
Yeah, there was.
Yeah, I apologize.
That's all right.
I just.
It's okay. But, it was something that didn't have to be done right then, so it's not a big deal.
And it gave time for me to get some other questions answered about buying flats back. Doesn't seem like something we really want to get into.
I do have a number.
If the person,
Unless it's the person who actually bought it. But
correct,
they're
or if they're deceased, well, then
deceased, you can't.
it's whoever the probate court designates.
Yeah. I think there are ways to do that,
Okay.
but it doesn't get confusing if we can have a legal paper trail
Yep.
there
No.
that's clear. If you have just someone showing up and claiming they have a right to that plat without any sort of substantiating documentation, then we don't want to get into that. It gets all sticky. But if it's very clear this person has rights to that, then I feel, because there are people who are going to want those plats and there are only so many of them. And it's better than, remaining unused.
And if we can, I mean, we can't purchase the plots back for only for the same amount of money. But if we purchase, then that gives us a plot that we can sell to somebody that actually wants to go in there.
Sure.
So, but they have to have proper documentation.
A note from their mom, Carl?
What's that?
Not a note from their mom?
Not a note from their mom.
I think Jeannie has some.
Don't throw anything at me, but I do. Do it again, and I
No,
I
this is
do-
That's what you're here for. This is what.
I do have a few questions.
it's a work in progress.
Okay. And I am happy.
Coming.
One thing that I could do also, that if I have questions, I didn't want to do this without coming to the board first, going through these, I can make notes, and then I'm happy to revise and bring for everyone to circulate again, depending on our discussion today. That way it's not, you aren't again, like having to revise these things. I don't think that that's fair to ask you to do that. So
There, it's easy if you send it. Okay.
yeah, I can do that. We can just do it in the Google document.
What are they anyway?
So
Are they?
there is one general prohibition that I do have questions about. I think they're all common sense. They make sense. But one of them is a prohibition on using the cemetery as a picnic ground. And my concern about that are a couple of different things. Like, and maybe this is just weird, but I know that our family has had a practice in the past. I know others that, for example, on Veterans Day, to go visit their loved ones or ancestors, family picnic, be close again. I know that for different like faith traditions on All Souls Day, for example, it is not unusual to go and sit down, have a meal, or just like a simple picnic. It's a way of being close to their loved ones. So I can't imagine anybody going out there. And again, people could be required to clean up after themselves, just like they are all through this.
I think this was just one of those things that was on every single
Right.
cemetery thing that I looked at. So
Right.
it's just a copy and paste.
Yeah.
I'm okay taking it off.
No, because
Well, I think Jeannie has a really valid point, though, right? I mean,
Yeah.
I don't know if you would call it a picnic, so to speak, but I know.
Wait, consider.
Well, I know that personally,
So I can't.
We could just strike that one, actually.
personally, I've gone and had my lunch
Right.
at my grandmother's grave.
Yes.
Yeah,
I've personally sat there and ate a sandwich,
I have done
sitting down
that.
on the ground next to my grandma.
I've
I don't know if you call it a picnic, but
but you.
whatever, you could,
Could.
right? And I would hate to limit somebody from being able to do something like that.
Yep, I did the exact same thing. What at my grandfather's.
and if, and we can only, in 3, 4, 5 years down the road,
Well, it can be
that
changed.
it can be changed. So that there's an issue. Yeah.
I think it's a good point.
Okay.
I missed that. Sorry, I'm sorry. That's a great point.
Yeah, I only did it, I found it out because I had done it, just like you. The other question I have is like establishment of cemeteries. Again, I know that I don't like to reinvent the wheel any more than you do. I agree. I think that most of this looks great. They refer to like here under establishment of cemeteries. There is a reference to a town manager several times in here.
But just because we copied and pasted.
Oh,
No, I totally get it. So I'm just,
Oh, look,
saying,
I
if
just-
we can strike that.
Okay, that's
Simple
just,
typo.
yeah.
That's it.
That
And
must have come from the
There's
town
a
of
town of
Bennington.
Bennington right
Yeah.
there.
yep, another town manager. See,
Okay, sorry.
right. And then, yeah, right, still in that okay, in the purchase of lots section, turn over, and it is the 1, 2, 3, 4th point. And it says no transfer or assignment of a lot shall be made by any owner without the express approval of the executive assistant. So here's my question, and I'm thinking about this, the reason of not getting any executive assistant caught up with someone saying, well, this was done for me and not for me. Like, could we have some guidelines for
Well,
that?
Shouldn't that be because we're forming the cemetery?
That was gonna be my next question. Should this,
Well, right now, it's executive assistant because I'm the one doing it.
Right, but
I have
I,
a commission, it'll say cemetery commission.
Right. Because we can
It'll-
change it, and we could go either, or we could put in there, chairman of the, cemetery commission or
I would,
executive session.
I wouldn't
be
even do it
chairman.
as the chairman. I'd
I
do
would
the
do
cemetery commission, it's only 3 people.
Right.
Right?
Right, but you,
But I can't do that.
but she can't do that right now.
But in the terminology in this policy,
I also think that we could do executive assistant, or we could do even cemetery commission, or if no cemetery commission is available, the executive assistant of the town.
that's what I was gonna go with,
We
right?
could do both.
Yeah.
Executive assistant until a cemetery commission is formed.
And I do think it's worth just thinking about a little bit to figure out if we could be a bit more specific and have some guidelines so that we've got, I would expect continuity of like, yes, you can, or no, you can't.
Such as buying a lot or selling a lot.
No transfer or assignment of a lot shall be made by any owner without the express approval, and sort of like, no resale of lots.
Right, but you know, do you understand what the rationale of that is?
Right, no, I do, and I'm not saying that we shouldn't
Okay.
allow that, but what I'm saying is just, as long as it's very clear what their guidelines are as to when they should or should not approve, that's what I'm saying. So
Right.
that,
Like we were saying before, you have to have express documentation from probate court.
Exactly.
Or
and that's all I'm saying.
Very
simple.
You purchase yourself, that those would be the guidelines.
100%. And I just think if we just spell that out a little,
They need to be defined.
it gives
Okay.
you or anybody else protection from someone saying,
Yeah.
oh, I wasn't that approved. Right down from that, I have a question that says corner markers will be purchased and installed by the executive assistant. Are doing everything.
No,
in the
they will be
cemetery.
purchased.
I'm gonna let, because if you give corner markers to Joe Schmo and he goes to the cemetery and puts them in the wrong spot.
Yep.
10 years from now, we have a cluster.
That's why we should charge for putting corner markers in.
Right, I'm just questioning if there's anyone else who should have to take that on other than you, because I feel
Well,
like.
she's going to do it. I think this all falls on that cemetery commission.
Painting and-
I do too. I think and I think this is important for people who are interested in being on.
But I think it's wise to keep the executive assistant in the loop because because the board is going to be elected. And there's no guarantee that, those 3 members, let's hope they're going to be good members.
But it does, so I'm gonna back you up for a minute,
Okay.
all right? That cemetery commission board is elected.
Correct.
They report to the townspeople. Because they're elected officials.
Correct.
They don't report to the
So what
select
happens if
board.
they just don't do their work, John?
They don't get
Then we
reelected.
have to get them out, right? At the next election. They don't report to the select board as an elected official unless we set it up differently. They don't report to Tara as the executive assistant. Julie doesn't, Ellen doesn't.
Okay.
Elected, we don't. An elected official,
Good point.
we can say whatever we want, but an elected official doesn't report to anybody but the voters of the town of Pownell.
Okay.
And I see your point. I totally understand what you're saying, because who has control over
And I know
the
you're
cemetery
100% right.
commission? But
We don't.
We can't, we can't.
I am considering running for the cemetery commission because
Great.
I just.
Then you would be, at that point, the appropriate person, I think, to
And
be
just-
part of that decision.
And just remember that if nobody runs for the position, we can't appoint anybody.
Well,
Yeah, we need people to run and then.
In order, even if they run and,
Yeah, it's this, yeah.
we can advocate.
Kind of frustrating with that, but.
We can,
Okay.
so I guess,
I think we can work on getting the 3 quality people to run for the
I do
cemetery
too.
commission.
so here's what I would just propose then. There are, excuse me, a couple of other places like that where I feel like the cemetery board should be making that decision. So what I'm happy to do is to reword that a different way, that it would be cemetery board, or in lieu of, if there is no cemetery board that's active, then we can go the executive assistant again.
okay.
I'm happy to do that. Good Lord, almost done.
Did we ever come up with a fee schedule? Okay.
No, just the $400.
Yeah.
That I asked.
Which actually I thought was very reasonable. That was,
It is, but I think that if the cemetery commission or whoever has to go and put the corner park markers up.
I agree with you, Carl.
That should be a fee that is,
There
because,
should be a requirement that the cemetery commission puts the corner markers
Correct.
in. I'm not, if I buy a
correct,
plot,
correct,
I'm
correct.
gonna go put my corner markers in.
Right. I just was talking about the fee schedule.
I know that, but it shouldn't even be an option. The fee, the
That's a
corner
fee.
markers are gonna put in by the cemetery commission or executive assistant in lieu of, right?
In lieu of.
And that's how it is. And there's a $150 fee to put those in. Just hypothetically. That's all I'm saying.
Yep.
Or
But
just,
there's no option to someone else do it.
or
correct.
just up the 400 to 500. And it includes that.
That's fine.
That's fine. Either way.
I'm good with that. I just,
Some towns add the cost extra, some towns add it in. It just depends which way you want to go with it. I know way too much about freaking.
Is there-
cemetery.
Very weird question. Is there any argument or any rationale, for example, for having the road crew, someone on our road crew put that in? I'm wondering if they're more accustomed to like making technical measurements, if they are, I don't know. This sounds strange, but I am aware of other municipalities when it comes to things like, for example, indigent burial. Like a municipal crew or a road crew will be involved in helping set something, and maybe not, but I'm just asking.
I don't.
Take care of the roads for us
Okay.
when I ask them to and that stuff.
They take care of the roads at the cemetery and I think that's it.
I mean, the cemetery is kind of my baby. I've spent a lot of hours down there, very
I got you.
frustrated trying to find plats and stuff. I got it. It's okay.
Okay, I hear you. All right, so down to burials, and I'm almost done, I promise. Burials will be allowed on all days of the year with the exception of New Year's Day, Memorial Day, Independence Day, Labor Day, Thanksgiving Day, and Christmas Day. And I just don't understand why that is.
Well, it was in the other cemetery bylaws, so I copied and pasted.
That is a great answer, and thank you for that. That's so, as someone who has like, I have attended a funeral.
Why reinvent the wheel?
I'm not really sure why it's a rule, but it's a rule, and I don't think.
Well, I think-
Funeral.
You know, in some funeral homes, excuse me, some cemeteries, they don't allow winter burials.
Right.
We address that elsewhere here, though, and I think, and like Memorial Day isn't in the winter, Independence Day isn't. I just think that we shouldn't
Well,
be
there's-
telling families when they can bury their dead.
so I don't know this. It's just a theory of mine. Right? So those holidays that you listed are,
Town holidays.
well, they're national holidays for the most part. So generally at a cemetery, you have a town cemetery, there's a town official or a cemetery overseer or whatever that's probably getting paid. So if they're working on a holiday,
Is there though? Or is there not just a funeral home that's involved? Do we have a town official that shows up for every one of the burials?
we wouldn't. But
We
I
wouldn't,
would
that's
think
what,
that
that's
some
what's
towns
copied and
pay.
pasted.
All right, so maybe that's why they did it, but I am interested in what Pownell does.
Well,
And
that's right. We're
I
calling.
can't figure out why we would not allow someone, if they have a funeral home who is willing to do it, and if the family would like to, for whatever reason,
I buried my dad on Columbus Day.
yeah, I mean, bury their loved one on Christmas.
Who's gonna, right, and the question is, do we have the town plow the roads for the cemetery if there's a
No.
funeral?
There's no winter maintenance in the cemetery
And that starts and ends when?
when it snows.
I don't, you know what? That's something that that's something that should probably be in here.
That should be in there.
That isn't here. That is addressed in here, that if it is not feasible to bury someone because of weather conditions, then that person, that family has to make arrangements until it is feasible. So I think we do address that. I think by and large, I think these are good bylaws, but I just think that
We can just
I
take
think
the
we should-
holiday thing.
Yeah,
Have it out. I agree.
I don't want to tell
and,
families.
but I think we should put in that the town will not plow the
I
cemetery.
thought it
That's
said
in here.
maintenance.
Winter maintenance is in.
We will not do, yes,
It's right above it. The town will allow burial during the winter months, weather and other circumstances permitting. In case circumstances are such that burial cannot be made, temporary entombment shall be the responsibility of the parties involved.
correct. But what I was thinking about was not so much burial, because you might be able to bury somebody, but if you've got a foot of snow in the cemetery,
Then you're not able to bury them because you can't get there. Simple.
okay?
No, seriously, it's simple, Carl. It's not our responsibility.
That's not
If
our,
someone wants to bury and they can bury their loved one on November 28th and there's
It's just-
snow,
right.
they want to come in and
Right.
have someone come in and plow the road and do it, then I think that should be,
I agree with you there, yes.
I think they should come to the cemetery commission.
And maybe that's,
Ask if they could.
maybe that's what should be put in. If there's gonna, at least to notify the cemetery commission that you're gonna plow
Wait. I don't think we should let people plow other than.
No, but that's a circumstance.
Well, that's true. That's down.
Yeah.
But we're very clear.
Nice. I say we just, from whatever it is, December, whatever to whatever they.
whatever to whatever, and just say, you know what, there'll be no burials between December 15th or
I
December.
think you just say weather permitting.
But yeah, and I think you've done that. And I think you have already addressed this in a way that covers all of these concerns.
Right.
If burials can't be made because of the weather, and no, you can't come in here, sir, and plow it.
Funeral home helps families.
I guess, yeah.
This is for entombment and stuff. The winter burials are an issue and
Yes.
it's completely normal to.
Yeah,
Sometimes you
and
can't.
that's why they got coolers.
Next point.
Um,
You'll another one.
are we?
I know, a lot of writing on this one, okay? I'm a little nervous.
I'm gonna make it easy though. All right, I will, this is, last page. And it's second point here, when it's talking about the materials and vaults and containers and everything else and what it has to be, great.
Yep.
That, we need to have that. And then I think that, it says, in an attempt to make sure you're sort of complying with law,
Mhm.
Vermont law says no cemetery can create a regulation that interferes with religious burial practices. And then below it says it is reasonable for the cemetery to charge additional fees for the maintenance of a grave that may need to be tamped down over time if no vault is used. Great, I love it. And all I would like to do is just add a little bit of language. And like right before we get to the Vermont law says no cemetery can create a regulation that interferes with religious burial practices. It just says, therefore, exceptions may be made for these requirements for religious reasons.
Okay.
And I'm happy to sort of interject that and get this back to you.
Yeah, that's perfect.
I just wanted to, I was grateful to see that in there. My last question is, these last 2 points, there's a reference to the commission. If any monument, memorial, inscription, ornaments, souvenirs, or floral arrangements, whether natural or artificial, shall be determined to be offensive, improper, or injurious to the appearance of the surrounding lots or grounds, the commission reserves the right. Which commission are we talking about? Because earlier there's a discussion of the planning commission. Are we talking about our new
It would
cemetery?
be the cemetery.
Cemetery commission.
Yeah.
Great. Okay. So I just want to
Yeah.
insert
The
cemetery.
planning commission was in there, I think, for the establishment of cemeteries.
Beautiful. Okay. I'll do that. Okay. That's it. Sorry.
Oh, no worries. You're gonna make those notes and send it back to me, even if you leave that with me, I don't care. Whatever is easiest for you.
You've seen my handwriting thing, right?
Mine's good.
Good, so we'll bring this back probably, next meeting. Good, and I think we should be fine with it.
Yeah. It's great.
Okay, I need to add the letter of interest, from the select board and trying to seek some funding for the emergent contaminants on the transfer station.
So as you know, we have been doing PFOA sampling at the transfer station. There's, on the non-closed landfill part, there have been contaminants located around the transfer station. We have a loan, a revolving loan that we will receive 50% subsidies on, but it's at this point over 500,000. That will be cut in half. However, it's still a large chunk of money just in the investigation part of it. So they have to determine the extent of the contamination and then they will look at how to remediate. So basically VHB knows that Pownell, Vanessa, I don't know what that actually stands for. VHB been our consultant that's been working on doing the sampling and things like that. They are coming at the beginning of September to do an updated well report to you all. But in the interim, they thought it would be great if we sent a letter of interest to the state, the A&R division, requesting that we be sort of kept in mind for future funding. There's a lot of funding available for emergent contaminants. And if we can sort of get in at the beginning saying, we really need help so that the burden doesn't fall on our taxpayers when it comes to remediating this. So there's a pot of money and we just want to say, hey, please consider us. And that's what the letter says. It's a little more technical than that, but
I think it's a great letter and I think that's,
Yeah, anytime we can try to get money to alleviate taxpayer
yes.
out of pocket pay, I think that's a great deal, as
Yeah.
long as there's no repercussions down the road and there doesn't appear to be any, so.
just gonna go on letterhead and be
Perfect.
to the board.
And thank you. Like that's, yes.
Yes,
Yeah, I was very thankful to them for that.
Strongly support that.
do I need a motion to move forward with that letter?
I'll make a motion that we move forward.
I will second that motion.
Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any public comment, Hannah? No hands? Perfect. I'll entertain a motion to enter into an executive for personnel.
Go ahead. Go.
I move that we move into executive session for personnel.
Second that.
All those in favor?
Aye.
All set? I'll entertain a motion to come out of executive for personnel.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second that.
All those in favor?
Aye.
I'll entertain a motion for executive for legal.
I'll make that motion.
I will second that motion.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Hold that hand, you gotta do it again.